How do you settle the victim?
What kind of psychosocial support can you give her? What kind of immediate medical document? Before you even think of evidence, would rather lose evidence than losing the life of a victim. We do other things, of course, among others. We apprehend the suspects, we profile them. And part of what we profile forms evidence, and that evidence is ours as police and prosecution. I was talking to my colleague there, the lawyer. He tells you, and he knows, and doctor knows, that this evidence can only be disclosed at the disclosure process of court. It's not evidence for everybody. Otherwise, like somebody is asking for the bed sheets. Now, if he starts sharing the bed sheets with these people, what if the suspect comes and burns them? Or any of his relatives? So we do that thing jealously. Of course, in the interest of time. There are so many things. Eventually, we take the suspect to court. We keep custody of suspects. We look for witnesses. But all in the name of ensuring that there is justice.
Charles, before I let you off the hook, there's an increase in the number of defilement cases. And together with that increase, if you read the JELOS report from last year, 6 in 10 of the reported cases to police do not even progress from his office. So you're stuck with all of defilement cases that aren't even investigated. Isn't that a failure on your part?
Yeah, thank you. Same proverb, Chiso Chambuzi. First of all, why do we start at the case at police? Why can't we start with morality? Why do people defile? You see, if we are to detect and curtail, let us start with morality. Really, under what circumstances would we think of defiling a minor piece of morality? Cases don't go to Madame Damari and her office. It's a multiple of cases. First of all, and very annoying, is that, and you even heard in this documentary, that somebody was very bitter that the suspect Musa was not given, I mean the mother of the victim was not given an opportunity to discuss. Okogera nemune, okukanya. You get that? So we have some issues where somebody just needs a police reference. He comes and reports, he gets a reference, you give him PF3 for examination, he or she will never come back. Lawyers here will tell you, we don't prosecute in absentia. Once the suspect is not there, once the evidence of age, once the evidence of penetration is not there, you cannot proceed. You will get an embarrassment from, and we are like Ugandans that we have Madame Samuel here. Madame Samuel is, sometimes we think she's an activist. She has that passion of ensuring that the girl child is protected. But at the same time, she does not compromise on evidence. So why we don't proceed? It's a multiple of issues. Of course, I want to agree that we also have issues of integrity. We have some officers. And Madame Damala will also request, because there is something which I have of late been educating about the people, on the way we interview witnesses. You heard that lady, I mean that girl, little girl, saying, Omusajja yankozesa. Now, if a police officer is not well trained, he will write in the statement that the man used me. And what happened? The police officer will write, slept on me. Then what exactly happened? He put his snake on me. And the police officer will write, I'm sorry to use the word. And the police officer who is not trained may use such things. And at the end of it all, once you take that garbage to Damal, he will not accept it. But the beauty is that through the engagement with the friends from civil society organizations and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, we are putting robust and deliberate efforts to ensure that cases of defilement do not die at the infancy.
Around what falls through the cracks, about the numbers that fall through, from the moment a case is reported and what finally happens many months later. Indeed, I want to acknowledge that there's been effort, there's been hard work. We acknowledge where offices of government are trying within difficult situations to really make a contribution, but what we have to acknowledge is that the terrain is still difficult. The terrain is difficult, and many children as Nakamate are stuck in the cold. Many parents as Nakamate's mother can only cry themselves to sleep. And that the incidences are growing, as you're mentioning. In 2019, there were 14,000 young cases of defilement. In 2020, another 1,000 had added. And I believe when all the collation around COVID-19 adds, it is going to be more and more cases. We see that the media has been awash of what just the last few months have looked like because of the impact of kids not being in school. We see that we are actually going down the slope. There is no picture of hope today where the situation is. We as frontline workers in this work, we actually are so overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed by the pain and you say that we should sometimes remove the emotion out of it. Yes, we are from the legal profession as well. But you fail to work without emotion on this issue. So we ask ourselves, how will we as a country, as a system, as actors, be angry enough to demand that things take a different trajectory? These are so many thousands of girls are in Nakamate's situation. For how long? What can be done is what is left with us. So, do I agree? I'm not so sure. Is it any of our colleagues here or what they've done or not done? I think this calls for a deeper interrogation. Such lives, too many lives, to only have a simple conversation about. I think we need to be more angry and actions need to be more robust, whether indeed it is starting at the molarity question, at a household question, whether it takes more than the judicial or legal system. I think we need deeper conversations. And I want to thank the effort behind this documentary. And I hope that it can be out there for more interrogation and for answers to be found. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And now I want to bring in Dr. Maria Matembe because I hear everyone framing it as a moral question. Your own perceptions of watching the documentary. And what are your perceptions about what these two officers and their respective officers should do?
You might assume to be the custodian of...
We don't, but...
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. You panelists, of course, and participants to this meeting. I want to thank God first that we are actually still alive with people. Whenever I meet people now, I say, hey, thank God you are alive. Because what COVID was doing, I tell you, when you are still alive, you must give thanks to the Lord. And my stomach and my relatives. Now, I want to thank Solomon this particular case, because this is not the case which we are talking about. But this gives us opportunity beyond we who have been suffering with these cases, beyond us. It gives the opportunity to all of you seated here, at least to know what has been happening in this country. And that's exactly what has been happening. So for me, I didn't sit there to get surprised. No. I sat there to listen to one of the examples that we've been dealing with, and there seems to be no stop. It is so painful. It is so sad. It is so, I can't understand. My husband says, you woman, you are going to die. Remember, I finished my work 15 years ago and left I don't have office, I don't work. But I work 24 hours. I'm like the women whom they ask in there, do you work? No, I don't work. You keep sleeping, then they start listing of the work they do. And mark you, I'm working unpaid, waiting to be paid by my God. the cases of defilement by the fathers, by the reverends, by the sheikhs. You people, you don't know, with UGANET here, the father, you see somebody crying and wants to abort, and you are comforting, please, you will die if you abort because it is too late. And this guy is wondering, how can I have my sister who is my child? You are talking of emotions. Actually, people see me very tough. But when it comes to these situations of these women, I cry. The battering, the violence, the defilement. You can imagine this girl, this is father, she's pregnant. Thank God this Nakamati is not pregnant. But she's carrying the baby who is her sister, her brother, and at the same time, her child. Do you imagine even Jesus cried? She wept, even when he knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead. But he wept. So some of us, you see us here, we've been weighed down by these cases. I cannot take 2 days without calls to me against gender-based violence, defilement, incest. Every the other day, I was telling her, I'm so tired, I'm so fed up. And in fact, I was saying, and I'm not looking for a job. Don't go and say Matembi is looking for a job, no. But I was saying, if this government of Uganda knew, the load I carry, they would put there a full department like this Nakarima thing. They would put it there and fund it. And they say, Matembe, you go and head that. And you would see. You would see. Those who are defiling, those who are beating women, you would see. So, the country is suffering. It is extremely unfortunate. It is not only this case, there are so many. In fact, even in this room, I don't want to mention who. We have one defiled by the uncle, and another uncle making her pregnant, and aborting her, and all terrible things. We have them there in our rooms hiding them. And yet, what I heard of this government, I can never speak without talking about government, while I thank you for what you are doing. But I heard 2 statements from very big highest. One was, these girls are getting pregnant, you parents, it is your fault. I think you heard that statement. It is your fault, you are not caring, you are not... Do you think the schools are the ones care for your children? The second one was, yeah, you'd rather get pregnant at 13, 14, rather than dying of COVID. At least we have 2 people instead of 1. And you can imagine with my emotions and my passion about these girls and their life, when you see the most responsible people taking, do you see any hope? Do you see any future of these 145, is it now 145 girls who have been defiled, who have been raped, who have been some pregnant, some are already married off? 14. Yes, for really pick them up and make them back into human beings that are supposed to be. For us people who have this passion for gender equality and women's empowerment, we are really desperate. We look helpless. We look, and by the way, I want to thank, as I sit here, I want to thank the DPP. The current DPP, she's very concerned. Clap for her. Every case I have taken there, she really follows these things. And the other day, I went there with a man who came, his daughter, claiming that his daughter was defiled by his brother. And I said, let me take you to DPP. Because she told me they have already released the man and on police bond. How does a person be released on police bond when there is that case? I said, no, let me take you to DPP. Do you know what I found? I found that DPP had already seen that case in Rushenyi. The parents, these people demonstrated and put on social media. And the DPP got it and ordered the police there in Mbarara or Rushenyi to forward the file to her. Do you see? She's interested. She's also suffering. But what